In CSGO you run by default, but can move silently by crouching or walking. Crouching moves you the slowest and is generally frowned upon since it makes you slow to react to things. Get into the good habit now of walking when near enemies who don't know where you are. A lot of kills in CSGO are done by knowing where the enemy is. Never underestimate the importance of stealth. I can't emphasize this enough. If the enemy hears you first, then you're going to be at a disadvantage before you even see them. Your movement speed in CSGO is determined by the weapon you have out. The knife is the fastest. As you master the game, you'll get used to switching to it when you need to move somewhere quickly. You have to be careful that you don't run into any enemies with it equipped, mind. There's nothing worse than being stuck behind a teammate who's running slower than you are. Particularly at the beginning of rounds, be sure to run with a knife so that you don't hold up those behind you. If you're new to the game and would rather hold a gun at all times, stand out of the way and let others overtake you so that you don't annoy your team. You'll learn with time. When shooting, you need to learn when to move and when to stand still. Sidestepping makes you harder to hit, but standing still makes it easier for you to shoot the enemies. If there is no chance of being shot at, like if the enemy has their back turned to you, stand still. If they're shooting back at you, practice sidestepping, stopping, firing, then repeating this process until somebody dies. This is oversimplifying a massively complicated topic, as it also depends on the weapon you and your opponent have equipped, the distance he is away from you, and where the fight takes place. This is a difficult thing to teach. It's more about learning through hundreds of hours of practice. You can speed it up by imitating better players even if you don't fully understand the things that they do. Understanding their actions should hopefully come with time or when you decide to deviate from what better players usually do. When I die in a round, I tend to watch the best performer on the team to work out what they're doing differently and if there's any tactics that I can learn from them. There are always games of varying skill levels that can be watched from the main menu of CSGO, as well as many match analysis videos on YouTube. Find some with narration and hopefully they'll point out the things that you should be aware of. When defending a location, you should preferably have cover close by to protect you from incoming fire. When choosing which side of the cover you're going to step out from to shoot back, be as erratic and as unpredictable as possible. If you keep peeking out of the same position, enemies will quickly recognise this and will prepare for you at those points. Next up is crouch jumping. Your player can, in theory, jump onto things the same height as their head. You'll rarely have to do this in normal maps. Try jumping onto it using the jump button however, and you'll find that you won't be able to make it. You have to press the crouch button a split second before you jump to make these. It takes a bit of practice, and I doubt that anybody gets it right 100% of the time. You also have to be holding the forward button while jumping, or you'll pathetically flop back to where you started, even if you did time the crouch perfectly. Then there's boosting. You can stand on people's heads in CSGO. Aside from the comedy value, it lets you reach areas and viewpoints that you otherwise couldn't, giving you a huge advantage and a degree of surprise when you attack. Unfortunately, you can't do a 3-person stack. It results in the top person sliding off whether they want to or not, but 2's fun enough. Just be careful not to get caught in a fight when you're on the bottom, since you'll be slow to move with the person above you. If both of you run at the same time, you can get a very powerful boost when you jump, as shown here. I'm showing you this because it's amusing. You'll rarely use it in proper play. The hardest part is both starting the run at the same time. You think that you could say something in voice chat like 3, 2, 1 and time your rushes using this, but audio in CSGO lags behind. The only thing that isn't is shooting. Right here you can see that we both run the moment the third shot is fired. Bunny hopping is where you jump the moment you touch the floor, which if timed correctly makes you quickly bounce across the level, like a bunny. In older versions of the game you could gain a lot of speed by doing this, but in CSGO it's very inconsistent and it's best relied upon to make you harder to hit. Much like head boosting, it's an advanced technique that is best used to get you out of dangerous situations and into safety without being shot. You can make it a lot easier by binding your mouse's scroll wheel to jumping, since scrolling that is like hammering the jump button 20 times a second, making it easier to get a good bunny hop. I have both spacebar and my scroll wheel set to jumping, as I find there are situations where I use both. Bunny hopping is an art, and there are entire maps designed for practicing it. You can find one such map in the description of this video, which lets you practice real jumps that you'll find in existing CSGO levels. Learning these will be hard until you get the technique right, and it's probably best left until you have hundreds of hours of practice under your belt. It's not a high priority for newer players, and as such isn't something that I want to cover here. You now know how to buy weapons, shoot people, and move. Now it's time to learn about communication, which is the stepping stone to teamwork in CSGO.